G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everyone. Today I'm interviewing Jonathan Fodera from Integrated Business Financing based in Tampa in the United States. Thanks for your time today, Jonathan.
Thanks for having me, Troy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with how we know each other. Emma from Podcast Connection thought you might be a good guest to come on, so here we are.
Love it.
Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
So I have multiple businesses, right? I've also made multiple mistakes, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But my main business is Integrated Business Financing. And so we are a small business lending marketplace that helps businesses in the United States grow by getting the best financing possible, whether it's SBAs, lines of credit, equipment financing, invoice factoring. You name it, we do it. And we have a unique way. We do an internal review where we do a soft credit pull, we do a cash flow analysis, and then we actually act as a consultant to show the business owner how they can improve. And that works well, and it helps us differentiate. In terms of other businesses I'm involved with a gym. That's a disaster. I've been involved in running internal sales teams for fintech companies. That was less than stellar. I like being in control of my own destiny. That's why I like being an entrepreneur. I do a lot of real estate investing, which has been a blessing. Okay, consistent, smooth. Yes, there's headaches, but you know what? You can basically measure and dial everything in. It's great. And I've obviously being in lending for 14 years, I see a ton of different business models. I'm almost like Shark Tank in reverse, right? Except it's not my money. So love the chat business, and I've seen a million different mistakes, and I've stepped in a lot of them myself.
Yep, great. Maybe go back, tell us how you started out.
Great question. My entire life, my family worked on Wall Street. I lived in New York. I thought I wanted to work on Wall Street. Got a job right out of college as a trader. You ever see like The Big Short and the high freak like the day traders? That's what I was doing.
Yep, right.
Miserable because it was 2 hours to commute there, 2 hours back home. And we started with a class of 80. And because of stress, because of people losing it, because of people having big losses, after 8 months, there was only 2 of us left. And at that point, I got recruited into finance and technology to be an underwriter. Hated underwriting. Hated everything about it. I asked them to move over to sales. I learned sales, and then I got really good at sales. Built my way up through the fintech company and decided, hey, this really isn't a right fit for everybody. Worked at a brokerage as a part owner. Found out the main owner was embezzling a ton of money.
Jesus.
Yep, $500,000. That was fun. Went back into to run direct sales into fintech. Had enough of that. Started my own marketplace called Sprout, and Sprout rebranded into Integrated Business Financing.
Fantastic.
And here we are today.
Great journey. So if you started effectively this business, was it 14 years ago, you said?
I've been in lending for 14 years.
Got it, right. So when did you start Sprout or Integrated Business Financing?
Sprout was 14.
Yep.
And I rebranded. Basically, I split from my partner that owned Sprout. I rebranded into Integrated, and that was done, I want to say, end of 2020.
Yep. Great. So you've been going 8 years. Do you have any key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business?
Yeah. So from Sprout, we were consistent seven figures. First 6 months of Integrated, we almost hit seven. I think we were high 700,000, and that's That's not funding or financing our clients. That's net
Yep.
fees in, right? And then this year we're on pace for 1.6.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, and growing, right? So and growing, which is very very nice. I believe that the more people you help, the more money you're going to make. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Yeah. Must be very sought after at the moment in the last few years through COVID, particularly your services.
It was. You had a lot of the EIDL, the SBA money, the PPP loans. We did a lot of those. But what people don't realize is, yes, it was sought out, but there was very few programs like your traditional lines of credit weren't. A lot of the lenders weren't. A lot of the underwriters were not willing to give those. So really, you could only do PPP, EIDL, and personal term loans and equipment finance. So a lot of the other programs that we were doing were basically shut down. There were no real SBAs going on during that time except the EIDL.
Right. And how many team members did you start with at Sprout, and roughly what are you at now, full-time equivalents?
We have a lot of contractors. Okay, so internal team, we are present day. We have 8. When you add in contractors, we are at 18.
Yep.
I project by the end of the year we'll probably be at somewhere around 25.
Great.
At the height of Sprout, when everything was rocking and rolling, we had 40 outside contractors and 5 internal.
Right. And how many did you start with? Just you and your business partner?
No, I actually came on as a consultant to start.
Right.
And he had about 50, but they were the wrong 50. And part of being a consultant, you have to determine, hey, what is going to propel us forward? Sometimes part of business is you have to take a couple steps back, work on systems, processes, make sure everyone has the right core values and has the right culture in order to move forward. So the team that he had, very disjointed. No core values. There was no alignment. It was very individualistic.
Yep.
And that caused a lot of chaos. So we had to literally almost wipe the facility clean and start from scratch. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. A lot of people are afraid to do it. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, totally. There was at least one business in hindsight I wish I had have gone scorched earth policy, took over managing a family business, and a lot of the managers and the people have been there for 6 to 13 years, and they just weren't equipped to go into the next chapter. And I held on to them a bit too long, but you got 20/20 vision in hindsight.
Yeah, right. It's so easy looking back what the answer should have been.
That's it. And what year did you effectively buy into Sprout, and how old were you?
I did it in 14. 14 was 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I was 28.
28.
36, 36 now.
When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
I've never felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the truth? I've never felt that way. I've had multiple. I've done a decent amount in my life, achieved a lot of really cool things. I think what separates people is knowing that, hey, there's always another level to get to. There's always something else I want to do. I've been able to sit down, blessed at my account, saying, hey, I don't really have to do anything ever again. To hey, that's not why I was put on this earth. I want to make an impact. I want to make change. Okay, so I've truly never felt that I've arrived, and that's just how I push myself.
Yep. What does success look like to you?
Oh man, what is success? That's That's a great question. And here's why it's a great question. I'm an avid believer in visualization. So for me, I want my own building downtown. I want to be doing about 20 million a month in revenue. I want to have a charity that helps rebuild businesses in America from the ground up. Because obviously with COVID and a lot of things that have gone on politically here, it's been an attack on small business, and the backbone of this country is small business because it gives everyone personal freedom, excellence, and independence from the government, right?
What I think what a lot of people don't realize, in most developed nations, small businesses create the preponderance of jobs. More than 50%, usually 60 to 70% of jobs in a country are created by small businesses.
Yes. And if you look over time, the number of entrepreneurs in the US has drastically decreased, has really, really decreased. And it's a problem, right? So then what happens? A lot of people have to work for big box corporations, and that does not help, right? And how many of those jobs that were once, someone could be at work at the checkout or the store, how many of those are being automated and replaced?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So small business is the backbone of any developed nation, like you said, and it's very, very important that we help make an impact to those people. So as a people, no matter what country, we can maintain independence.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
That's an amazing question. Social media is amazing, right? And I think the more value you can put out and get inside your client's head, right? You want to understand who your ideal avatar is. You want to speak to them. You want to deliver as much value as you can to them without actually pitching them.
Yep.
Okay. Without actually pitching them. Because if you impress them, if you help them with something, when they do need your goods or services, they will come running to you instead of you having to pound down their door.
Yep.
That's the best thing I could tell you to do.
How did you fund the business?
I self-funded it.
Yep. So no other investors or bank finance or government grants?
I have a small investor that I did not need, but I brought on strategically because I believe of some of the connections that he has, right?
Yeah.
To in the franchise space and to other businesses in the US.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
Would I go into this industry again? Yes, I would. I wouldn't change anything based on everything that's going on right now. If I was to pick a different vertical, and because I love what I do, but if I was to pick a different vertical, it would have to be service based. I would not do anything that is supply chain that could be impacted by the supply chain based on all the geopolitical problems going on.
Oh yeah, it's fucked at the moment, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Completely. I'm glad we can curse on here. I really held back like 2 or 3
Oh,
times.
sorry, I forgot to tell you at the start. I swear.
Okay.
Swear like a
Good.
trooper.
Me too.
Yeah, good. Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Holy shit, this is a good one. Want the truth? It's a couple of them. The first one was when I found out my partner was embezzling, I had a kid on the way.
Right.
Then I had to make a determination of what to do. Right. So I had to leave, and my first son was, about to be born. The second one was probably recently with these gyms. Got involved in a early stage franchise. Not what I thought it was going to be like. And I think that the challenge is when it is a people business, you need your own time and capital to put into it.
Yep.
Okay. There are some models that are investable, meaning if it's investable, you can just get the right person to run it, and you have X amount of runway to get it up, break even, profitable. There are other models that you're basically buying yourself a job, and it's not so investable.
Yep.
The difference is you have to make that decision, and you have to figure out, is one, the risk versus reward. Okay. Is the reward sufficient for the risk? Two, how much time do I have to put into this on a weekly basis? And three, and this is the biggest takeaway I've learned from investing like this, does it do anything for my main business? Meaning, is it the same client base? Is it is it vertically integrated or is it a completely different industry? And the fact was, looking back at everything, it's a completely different industry. I would never do it again
Yep.
because it is time intensive. That's the truth. So if you're going to make investments, if you have your main company, figure out how else you can serve your clients best and invest into that. Okay, do not pick a different vertical. That's a great lesson.
Have you read Alex Hormozi's book, Gym Launch?
I just read his. I love Hormozi. He's great. Yeah. I just read, and he actually was on my mentor's podcast that I had my lap.
Yeah, right.
Ed's a great dude, and that was a great show.
So you read $100 million offers?
I did. I read $100 million offers, which was fantastic.
It's awesome. I recommend you read the Gym Launch book unless you're about to, totally exit the gym business. It's a great book.
Yeah, I've heard his $100 million offer one is so simple, so great.
Absolutely. When I thought I wasn't going to get much out of the book, but geez, one, he just writes and speaks really well, and everything he says sounds like common sense, but obviously it's not common practice. He just wraps it up really well.
Right.
But I'd recommend any of the audience listening definitely have a listen to that $100 million offers, Alex Hormozi, and he's got some great YouTube videos as well.
Yes. You know who else is really good? Who writes a ton of books? Why can't I think of it? All marketing. Oh man, and I've read like 30 of them. I'm reading one now.
Not Seth Godin.
Yes, Seth Godin.
Oh yeah, he's great.
That's it.
Yep.
Purple Cow. They're just. He comes out with a new book a quarter.
Yeah, I'm on his email list. He's great.
Yeah.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
Great question. People, leadership. 100%. People and leadership. Sales, influence, I'm great. Marketing, I have really great ideas and I can communicate them effectively to a team. I think staffing any type of business, I think building and working on your leadership is very tough. And even the people that are very successful will tell you they're not successful at it. I don't think I've been successful at it.
It's hard. I've certainly made a shit ton of mistakes there as well, and still continually learn in that corner of the business. And as I like to say, people are the hardest thing in small business and where the value's at, So
well, that's how you multiply, right?
That's it. You can't scale.
That's how you multiply. A great book on that is Jocko Willink. Dichotomies of Leadership was great, and Extreme Ownership was great.
Okay, great. Adding that to my list. What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
Interviewing, hiring, firing.
Yep.
Every part of that makes my skin crawl. If we're going to be honest, yeah. That to me is that's been the worst part, or most challenging. Not worst, but most challenging part.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
I like seeing the impact that we make. Ultimately, here's the thing. There's many ways to impact. When my team has a great week or month, or I know that really is helping somebody out financially, like they got a great paycheck, that makes me feel amazing as a leader and as an entrepreneur. On the flip side, selfishly, I do like to work with some of our clients. And the reason being is I enjoy helping our clients win and grow their business. That's what I'm really good at, looking at someone else's business and just putting a couple puzzles or pieces to the puzzle in place and then watching them take off. It's almost like when you watch your kid do something for the first time. So to me, those two things are the most rewarding by far.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
I love these questions. Biggest mind shift, seriously. Embrace the suck. If you're putting something off, that means, or you're delaying something, that means you should be focusing on that first. For example, hiring, right? I don't like hiring. I know I need to do it. I need to do it yesterday. Also, just understand the more people that you help and make an impact positively, the more you will make over time. And if you can slow it down. Everybody wants to grow, okay, in leaps and bounds. But if you can really make a true impact on one person and they rave about you and they make them a raving fan, well, guess what? That one person can go bring you 4, 5, maybe 10 other people. And if you focus on that one to one, and that everybody else tells you the opposite, if you focus on one to one and you really make a difference, you will grow by leaps and bounds. The trick is to have everybody on your team focus on doing it that exact way.
The number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
Let's go with that one to one. Okay. If you if you make an impact and make a difference on one person, okay, and that will multiply. All right. Everyone's so worried and so dialed into scale and numbers and hey, if I spend $100,000 on marketing, as long as I get back 120, that's all that matters. Well, yes, you're right. Financially, that makes sense, and that's how you have to look at it. But if you can drill down to the little nitty impact that you make on somebody, okay, whether it's leaving a note, okay, when someone buys a product or service, or making sure their experience was extraordinary, that is what's going to help, add rocket fuel to everything you do.
Want to become the best manager you can be? Check out our Kick-Ass Manager course at growasmallbusiness.com. Do the course and add your fellow managers for no extra cost. Join the 30%. 70% of people quit their job because of their manager.
Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening? Sounds like you've got a bit of experience with bringing people into teams.
Yeah. So when you're bringing people into teams, one, understand what drives them, right? What motivates them. A lot of times money is not the end all be all. It's not the deciding factor. Once you figure out how to motivate that person, that's what you should be focusing everything around, right? What one approach does not work the same for every single person. So while you have to make rules, guidelines, core value, and culture that fits everybody and the entire group, how you communicate that to that person may need to change.
What are some things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
Make sure everybody understands the core values. Make sure you everything is done like you reward and praise off culture, core values, and then you also reprimand off culture and core values. That is the guiding principles of your company. All right. And then also keep it loose. Like a lot of people nowadays want results, obviously within structure, but most employees and most people on the team will be happier to get you results if you back off a little bit on the structure. Structure is important to a degree, but you can't do everything based off of structure if the results are there, right? Yeah. Process and structure are different, right? Structure is, hey, you have to be here 9 to 6 or 9 to 5. Okay, process is, hey, you need to take every client through this journey to get this end result. And by the end of the month, we want you to sell 100 widgets. Well, if they're exceeding that and they're doing 120 sales and their process is cool, but they don't, they are not living inside the structure that's deemed acceptable, that's fine. Let it go.
Yep. Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
That's a myth.
That's a myth. No one said that before.
That's a myth. I'm serious. There's no, here's the thing. If you really, I don't know how many people can say they're truly successful and balanced. I'm not, right? I'll put in a 70, 80-hour week. The difference is when I go home, I'm intentional, okay? I'm super intentional about spending time with my family and doing something like take them to the beach or out on the boat or going to sports, right? And then I'll also tell you the balance I strive for is excellence in these 4 areas: faith, family, fitness, finances.
Yep.
Okay. Finances is obviously work. Faith, family, fitness is also non-negotiable, right? So I start my day working out. After that, I go in a sauna. In that sauna, I'm visualizing. First off, I'm being grateful, and then I'm visualizing what I want and how I'm going to do it. Staying there for about 15 minutes. Shower. Get to the office at 7:30. Work from 7:30 to probably 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Then I go home. I'm intentional with my family, and then on the weekends, I'm super intentional with my family as well. So I don't know if the average person would consider that balance because will put in 70 hours a week, but that's how I do it.
How much professional development have you invested in yourself?
Oh Jesus, so much, so much. Probably multiple six figures at this point. Without a doubt, multiple six figures in different high-end masterminds and different groups, and it has made all the difference in the world.
Yep.
And I continue to read every night. Every single night, I read a personal development book. Not the whole book, but I at least knock out 10 to 20 pages.
Yeah, great. That's good. Have you had mentors or coaches along the way?
Yes. Ryan Stewman, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella. Those are the biggest ones. Those in Arate and Apex, I've made a lot of great relationships with people, and that has helped my business tremendously.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
I do not. I do not. Probably 2-3 years away from that.
You're one of the few we've had on. I guess you've exited the first business in a sense. You got any advice for the audience around that chapter of your life? Choose the right business partner, I guess, is the first one.
Yeah, I've had two serious breakups with partners, and both times I was younger and didn't know what to look for. And personally, I would always maintain control of a business. I would never partner with anyone unless everything one was spelled out, and two, don't ever partner with any for money. You don't need money. You could go get money. Okay. Partner if they add a different skill set. So yeah, that's my view on partnerships and the exits. I should have exited both of those relationships a lot sooner, and I would have been a lot better off. I probably would have been about 5 to 7 years ahead of where I am currently.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
The hardest thing in growing a small business is having the clarity to grow it as quickly as you want it and being able to be flexible enough to do it as well. And what I mean by that is you need to be very clear about how you want to grow it and be intentional in that. A lot of times you will have speed bumps and things will not work out the way you need them to. So are you flexible enough to pivot and still reach that end result? And a lot of times, that is like key. And the other part of that is, are you giving up? Are you changing direction when things get hard? Or do you need to just try it one more time a little differently? Knowing which one of those three fit that roadblock or fit that challenge is tremendous. And that's something you learn from experience.
Yep. Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
Not a book, but Tony Robbins' Mastery of Influence. Okay, that if you need sales or you need to be able to influence, take sales out of it. Negotiation, that's tremendous. Okay, Tony Robbins' Mastery of Influence.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
I like Real AF. And I like Ed Milet's podcast. Those are the two I listen to the most, but I do listen to a whole bunch of others as well. And I'm going to start tuning in a lot more to this because these questions are absolutely, actually like great questions. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
That depends on the business, right? The easy one would be like Excel, but depends on the business. I love the way my CRM is structured. It's Go High Level. That
Yeah.
connects to all social platforms. It's an absolutely amazing system, but it's business dependent, that question. You could
Final,
also say social media or your cell phone
yep.
for marketing.
Final, my favorite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
Oh man, that's a great question. No, I would have skipped the partners and just went right to this. But the truth of the matter is I wouldn't have been able to because I did not have the lessons learned and the experience in. So just starting out, trust the process, don't stop, and make the biggest impact that you can.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for your time today, Jonathan. I think the audience will get a lot of value out of what you shared with us, and congratulations on your success so far in your journey. I know there's a lot more to come and you've got big growth aspirations. Might have to have you back on in a couple of years.
I'd love to. Thanks, Troy. This was amazing. Appreciate the opportunity.
And for our audience, we would greatly appreciate a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. More reviews means we bubble up higher in iTunes, etc. So more business owners looking for podcast help with their growth will find us.